Hi there, I'm Michael Baumiller from Key Island Golf Resort, and good thing about being last is that they've all said what our table kind of came up with. So question one, the economy's affecting us. Budgets are being cut. Some proposals are being sent back 3 and 4 times. Our table had an interesting dichotomy. As I'm a hotelier, we've also had country club, a CVB, and also the opera is the dining venue and offsite venue. So the answers that we all got were very different, because I was more the hotel side that, from a planner side, everyone's asking, okay, you say you have a $500 room rate, what's included in that? I was like, well, nothing. That's the room rate. So we're looking at more and more people being like package oriented. Can we get like a CMP package? Can we get an all-inclusive package? Trying to bundle it all so they don't like the per person cost to kind of watch their overall spend. But we are seeing that some emotional events are still being booked. The weddings, the bar mitzvahs, the birthdays, the family reunions, those are still being strong, because it is more emotional and they will have a tendency to spend more. Let's face it, if you're not married, or you will be, or you are married, you know that what you thought you were going to spend on your wedding wasn't. You spend a lot more. But also, from the operations side, something I never even considered was that, you watch just through attrition of an event, if you have 200 people and you've got 3 bartenders, and as your attendees start to drop off, can you cut a bartender and can you cut some servers, because you don't need like all the servers for the amount of people that you have. So operationally, can you kind of cut the costs there? And then from a hotel side, we are getting more and more third parties and corporations calling us at the last minute and playing the waiting game on the room rate. The saying is that right now at Key was that October's not even in the wheelhouse for booking, because we've got some opportunities and folks aren't even considering October yet, because they're still looking at August and September. And large corporations, even here in Atlanta, are calling us with 100-room groups for 4 nights for September. And they're calling everybody saying, who has it? And if you have it, this is how much you want to pay. You may be quoting a $500 room rate, but if you own my business, you're going to give it to me at $250. Chances are we're going to figure out what we can do to get down there to get the business, because if we can get some heads in beds, we're going to get some spend in other areas. Being the detailed sales manager that I am, I didn't bring my questions, so we also touched on question number 10. We are looking at more and more international traffic coming to the U.S. because the U.S. dollar is rather weak right now. How do you attract international travelers? Canadian market is certainly strong for us, as we're getting more and more requests from Canadians, and also we're seeing some interest from the European states coming over here and figuring out what they can do on the U.S. because it is such a strong buy. Who would have ever thought that Anheuser-Busch would have been up for sale? And so right now we're all in that kind of predicament that the U.S. dollar is not where we wanted it to be. But then how do you reach those prospects? Who can you touch base with in Canada? Because Toronto, Ontario is a strong financial area. But how can we get folks down here or other segments in Canada to come down to the U.S.? Anybody has any ideas right now? And a lot less events are going international. They're staying more domestic. I've told some of you this. We just had a group check out at the sanctuary that it was a grandfather and he had 5 rooms for 7 full nights, and when he checked out, the bill was $56,000. Not a bad week's worth of revenue. But when you think about it, that probably would have been the trip that would have gone on a 7-day cruise or gone over to the Mediterranean, and as a family vacation for those that have the resources. They will certainly take those kind of vacations, whereas they're staying more domestic. And $56,000 to that one individual may have been a drop in the bucket to the $100,000 that he would have spent, or even $200,000 that he could have spent overseas. So we're looking at it that front, trying to track different segments. Then finally, question 11. Evan had mentioned this, and it's kind of a saying I think he's going to try to patent, that we have too many emails and not enough eyeballs. That we're getting so many emails lately that, you know, what do you look for? Who mentioned sending emails on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? I like that. So I'm not in the marketing side, but I'm sure somebody has figured it out. So that's interesting that they've kind of figured out the days. But then trying to figure out, some people do prefer emails. The younger generation does. If you didn't grow up with computers when you were 4, you're certainly going to still pick up the phone and contact people. Who's a phone person, who's an email person, and that's kind of trying to figure out how to communicate effectively to each other. And that's it.